At 25, he finally did it. Walked into the dealership, signed the papers, and drove off in the car he had been dreaming about for years. It looked perfect, sounded perfect, felt like success. For a moment, he believed he made it, but at 30, everything changed. Same car, different feeling. Now he's staring at his bank account, doing the math, and realizing something no one warned him about. That decision didn't just cost him money, it quietly took his time, locked up his income, and delayed his freedom. And the worst part? It felt like a reward, when it was actually a setback. This isn't really a story about cars, it's about a decision that looks successful on the outside, but quietly traps you on the inside. Because when he bought that car, nothing felt wrong. Everything felt right. The compliments, the attention, that feeling of finally being ahead. But what he couldn't see was the chain reaction it started, a slow, invisible drain on his money, his options, his future, month after month. It kept pulling from him, and the scariest part, right now, millions of people are making the same move, thinking it's progress, when it's actually holding them back. Let's call him Alex, 25 years old, solid job, making about $65,000 a year. Not rich, but ahead of most of his friends. He earned it, late nights, missed plans, real sacrifices. He always told himself, when I make it, I'll reward myself. This was that moment. A $38,000 car, $650 a month, $180 for insurance, gas, easy $200. But none of that mattered then, because this wasn't just a car, it was a signal that he was winning, that he was finally moving forward. The first few months, pure excitement. Every drive feels different, every turn feels smooth, every stoplight feels like a moment. He takes the long way home just because he can, finds random reasons to go out, late night drives, weekend cruises. The car stays spotless, washed, polished, perfect. He posts pictures, people notice, comments roll in. Bro, that's clean. You're doing well. Proud of you. And every time he hears it, it hits. That feeling, like all the work paid off, like he finally stepped into a new level. For a while, it feels completely worth it. But then, something starts to shift. Not all at once, just slowly. The drives feel normal. The attention fades. The excitement becomes routine. No more double takes. No more constant compliments. Just a car. And then one day, the payment hits again. $650. Same as last month. Same as next month. Doesn't matter if he's tired. Doesn't matter if money is tight. Doesn't matter what life throws at him. It's still there. Every single month. And now, it doesn't feel exciting. It feels heavy. Because the emotion is gone. But the obligation isn't. That's when it starts to click. This wasn't just a one-time decision. It's a commitment, a fixed weight, attached to his income. And for the first time, he starts to feel it, not as pride, but as pressure. That's when reality begins to settle in. Here's what nobody tells you. The cost of the car is never just the car, it's everything around it, because once that payment locks in, everything else has to adjust. Now, Alex has less breathing room, less flexibility, less margin. Before, a small emergency was annoying. Now it feels serious. Before, a slow month was manageable. Now it feels stressful. Because there's always that fixed number waiting, $650. No pause, no negotiation, no break. And it starts changing how he thinks. He hesitates on trips, pushes back plans, says, maybe later, to things that could actually move him forward. Investments, he tells himself he'll start soon. Opportunities, he second-guesses them, because deep down, he knows his margin is tight, and this is where it gets deeper. That $650 payment, it isn't just money, it's time, because every month, he has to show up to work. Not to grow, not to build, but to maintain, to hold on to something he already owns. That changes everything, because now his income isn't fully his. A part of it is already spoken for, locked in, and over time, that creates pressure. Not loud pressure, quiet pressure. The kind that slowly limits your options, the kind that makes you play safe. And the dangerous part? From the outside, nothing looks wrong. He still has the car, still looks successful, but internally, he's operating with less freedom than before. And that's the real cost most people never see. The biggest mistake Alex made wasn't buying a car. It was buying it too early. At 25, every dollar carries more weight, not because of how much it is today, but because of what it could become. That's the power of compound growth. Money doesn't just add up, it multiplies over time. That same $650 a month, if invested consistently, could have quietly grown into something massive. Not overnight, not instantly, but over 10, 15, 20 years. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe more. But instead, that money went somewhere else. Into a car that loses value every single day, every mile driven, every year passed. It's worth less, and that's the trade most people never stop to think about. Because it doesn't feel like a trade in the moment, it feels like a reward. But in reality, you're not just buying a car, you're giving up future wealth, you're exchanging long-term freedom for short-term validation. And once you see it that way, you realise the real cost was never the price tag, it was the opportunity you didn't take. Now he's 30, same job, slightly higher income, a little more experience. On paper, it looks like progress, but internally, something feels off because this isn't where he thought he'd be. Back at 25, he had a picture in his head, more savings, more freedom, more options. Instead, his savings are lower than expected. Every time he checks his account, it feels underwhelming, like he should be further ahead by now. His investments, behind. He knows he should have started earlier, knows he could have done more, but every month, something got in the way. Bills, expenses, that constant payment he couldn't ignore. And the car? The same one that once felt like a milestone. Now it's just normal. Worse than normal. It's lost value, a lot of it. What he paid $38,000 for might be worth $18,000, maybe less. And that hits differently, because he didn't just spend money. He watched it disappear, slowly, silently, year after year. And the feeling he once had, gone, completely. No excitement, no pride, no sense of I made it. Now when he looks at it, it doesn't represent success, it represents a decision that felt right in the moment, but didn't align with where he wanted to go. And the hardest part, it's not dramatic. There's no big failure, no sudden collapse, just a quiet realization that while he was busy maintaining this lifestyle, he wasn't building the next level of his life, he was staying in place. And that's what hurts the most, because time passed anyway. 5 years, gone. And now he's starting to understand something most people learn too late. It's not the big mistakes that set you back, it's the small, reasonable decisions that slowly pull you off track. One night, he finally sits down and does the math. No distractions, no assumptions, just numbers. 5 years, car payments, insurance, maintenance, gas. He adds it all up, and the number stops him. Over $50,000. Gone. Not invested, not saved, not growing, spent. And for the first time, he doesn't justify it. He just looks at it. Quietly. That's when it starts to hit him. Not like a shock. More like a slow realization. That decision didn't just cost money, it cost momentum. Because every month he was paying for that car, he wasn't building something else. He wasn't investing consistently, wasn't taking bigger opportunities, wasn't creating leverage. He was maintaining, staying in place. And that's the part that stings. Because $50,000 isn't just a number. It's what that money could have become, the progress it could have created, the options it could have opened. Instead, it went into something that kept depreciating, something that felt like progress, but didn't move him forward. And now he sees it clearly. It wasn't just a purchase, it was a trade. short-term feeling for long-term delay. And once that clicks, you don't look at decisions the same way again. Here's the truth most people avoid. Just because you can afford something doesn't mean it's the right move, especially in your 20s. That's the phase where small decisions shape your entire future. It's not about looking successful, it's about stacking wins nobody sees, building habits, creating options, buying yourself time. Because real success isn't loud early on, it's quiet, it compounds. Anyone can look rich at 25, but being free at 35, that takes restraint, that takes discipline. So the question isn't, can I afford this? It's, is this helping me build the life I actually want? That dream car? It was never really the problem. The timing was, because the same decision at a different stage of life could have meant something completely different. But at 25, when your income is still growing, when your habits are still forming, when your future is still wide open, that's when timing matters the most. And if you're standing at that same point right now, thinking about making a big purchase, ask yourself one simple question. Is this actually moving me forward? Or just making me feel like I am? Because those two things are not the same. One builds your life, the other just creates the illusion of progress. And the dangerous part? The illusion feels good. It feels earned. It feels justified. It feels like a reward. But real progress, it usually feels slower, quieter, less exciting in the moment. That's why so many people choose the wrong one. Not because they're careless, but because the wrong choice feels better right now. And the right choice, it only makes sense later. That's the trap. Because the most expensive mistakes in life don't show up as mistakes. They show up as upgrades, as milestones, as proof that you're doing well. But underneath, they're quietly delaying everything you actually want, your freedom, your flexibility, your ability to take bigger risks later. And by the time you finally see it clearly, it's no longer a small decision, it's years of momentum already spent. That's why this matters. Not to stop you from enjoying life, not to tell you to never buy what you want, but to make sure, when you do, it actually aligns with where you're going, because a reward at the wrong time can become a setback you carry for years. And the difference between the two? You usually don't feel it right away. You feel it later, when time has already passed, when options are more limited, when you realise you could have been further ahead. And that's the part no one warns you about, because by the time you understand the difference, it's already cost you years.